What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon Hunt. I'm here with Per Schneider.
Hey, Brandon.
We watched The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance as it came out at the end of the month here, and I think it's incredible. I think it's gorgeous. I'm so excited that it's back, supposedly, that we're back in the world of Thra. Per, what did you think of the series?
Well, first of all, I thought it was really improbable that they would ever do another Dark Crystal like this before. You know, the original movie, if you go back into the 80s, I was a kid, absolutely in love with the movie. There were lots of stories about it costing too much and not making enough money. It cost like over $25 million to make and made like just, over $40 million, which wasn't great back then.
Yeah, sure.
So I never thought we would get a sequel. To get this extended sequel or prequel that like builds out the story, I was super excited for it.
Me too.
And then immediately when I heard about the production, I was worried. Because the original is so lavish, has so many costumes and physical sets, I thought they'd cheese it and then add more CG, but it turned out really good.
They turned out amazing.
Yeah.
The blend of the CG, like there's some things I'm sure we'll never really know what was truly CG and what wasn't. We were talking about the tongues in the Skeksis.
Like, really well done, yeah.
Really well done, pretty gorgeous stuff. The builds of all the Skeksis and the puppets are crazy. Maybe there are some CG elements in those eyebrows, those faces, those tongues.
Well, they did the orrery, the planetarium kind of thing
right.
that in Augra's place. That is redone in CG, so that was a physical set before.
Wow.
So I was a little sad about that, but it was in there for such a short time, and they did such a nice job. It didn't really matter. I was actually able to see an early screening of the first 2 episodes of The Dark Crystal when they were unfinished. So there were still some things that were a little off around the eyes of the Gelflings.
Sure.
So they touched up some stuff. But more importantly, the producers said that they were actually playing around with all digital Gelflings before. So they did CG Gelflings because so many people complained about how the uncanny valley with those puppets.
Sure.
They did CG and they said it just didn't work. They didn't match, and so
You
they
gotta
went
have
back
the puppets.
to the original concept and how they worked.
Which I love. I mean, I love that there's the dedication to the Jim Henson aesthetic. I guess the thought process, like the ideals of Henson. I love that they just took that and they amplified it so much that it still feels like a Henson product. To me, it is probably the most technologically advanced Henson product out there, but still Henson.
And it has those moments like it's pretty dark and serious.
Yeah.
And not to spoil anything, but when you get deeper into the show, there are 2 characters, a Mystic and a Skeksis, who the sequence is almost Muppet Show-like. The way they interact, and it harkens, like the voice actors harken back to the Dark Crystal's origin, which Henson was inspired by creating this segment on Saturday Night Live. And here we have 2 SNL alumni playing these characters. Like, it really is super Henson through and through in more ways than one.
It feels like we were discussing this book, which is The Dark Crystal, The Ultimate Visual History, and kind of going down into the behind the scenes of how they made the first movie. And there's a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of callbacks to the original designs, the original thoughts and ideas of what they wanted to put in the movie that we sort of get here. Here's the Grunach.
Yeah, so
it looks like a Grunach.
If you look at this, this is the Skeksis originally were called Reptus in the original treatment, and there's this servant to the Reptus. And of course, in the show, there are these 2 Grunach, these poor little kind of podling-looking reptile guys with their mouths sewn shut, who have to help the Skeksis. And like, there's a kind of a cool reveal in the show around them as well, and some cool story elements. But that goes back to the original concept art from Brian Froud. And there are a couple of other things in this book that I thought were really interesting, like costume designs that we didn't see in the original movie that kind of made their way into this prequel series. I love that. It's really cool.
I love that it seems like they went back to all the original source material and just pulled everything that they could and really amp up Jim Henson's vision, Lisa Henson's vision, which is great.
What did you think about the decision to make this a prequel?
I was weary at first. It's sort of not my jam. I always like continuations, but watching this series and you kind of get to get like a bit of an explainer piece in the movie. If you don't really get the movie, watching the series will really help you, in my opinion, sort of digest everything that the movie is trying to tell you with that limited time that they had of just 2 hours to go through that.
But the issue, like the movie starts with everybody's gone,
Everyone's
right? Like
gone,
everybody's dead and this horrible thing happens. That's
Right.
the conceit of the movie. And then you go back and you get like all these characters you're supposed to love and follow, and then you're like, well, it's kind
Right.
of all futile, isn't it? Like,
Right.
what's the point? Like, the show doesn't. It's not like the show ends and it connects to the movie,
Sure.
right? Like, there's definitely many years pass, or
Right.
we don't know what the gap is.
Right.
But I always felt like really, do we need a prequel to just see the Skeksis wipe out, the Gelflings?
Yeah.
And
Well, we don't know if there's going to be another season. Hopefully there is.
Yeah.
But I love that we get so much more of the Skeksis. We get expanded.
And they're really well
knowledge
done,
of them.
too.
They're really well done. I think my favorite is the Hunter. He's so badass.
Hunter is creepy. I love the one. I
Yeah.
like the whole. Was it the heretic? He was really good. But also Simon Pegg as the Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Like the voices are not always close to
Right.
the original actors. Like Mark Hamill,
Sure.
sounds like the original guy, but they're different. But Simon Pegg just gets that whine down perfectly.
He got it. So I thought it was the same guy at first.
For a while,
For
it
a
really
while.
sounds like it, right?
Well, let's talk about that. There's a lot of familiar puppeteers here that are back. Some of them are Dave Goles, Kevin Clash, who plays Elmo, Louise Gold, who did a lot of the Elmo. Louise Gold, who's back. She did a lot of the female characters in the original Muppet series.
Yeah.
Which I love that. I mean, Kevin Clash plays Aughra. So I'm sure he's taken a lot of instruction from Frank Oz, who played Aughra in the movie. But there's a new generation of puppeteers: Victor Yared, Alice Dinian, Dave Chapman, and Warwick Brownlow Pike. Those are like they're not totally new to the Muppet world. A lot of them have been there since the beginning as well, but they're sort of I wouldn't say they're like the next generation basically.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I love that they're back. They're in sort of full force here. And they're really, I love that it's just, old family, new family. It's great. I love it.
I think there will be a lot of people who start watching this series who may not have ever seen the movie, who just can't get into the world,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Like who don't believe it, who don't buy it, and for whom it might be a little bit too dark. But I hope people stick with it and see the craftsmanship in it.
Yeah.
I love that the limitations of the original movie are still here. Like the Mystics have 4 arms, but there's one puppeteer in them
Right,
for
right.
most scenes, and so. The head moves and the left arm moves, but the other arms are just kind of hanging out and sometimes
Right.
on rods or whatever.
But I love how
it's so cool.
I love how it's really awesome. But I love how they make that work a little bit extra, and they figure out they have new tools
Yeah.
with the technology now to make it work in a way where it doesn't feel like we're just going to add CGI to it, but we're gonna add a little touch of CGI to make it feel more natural.
Obviously,
right?
they're able to erase rods and strings
Right.
and all of that super easily
Right.
now. But it's like I loved watching this show just knowing that there were people behind these
Yeah.
puppets and like how they're always shot, right? Like you get a lot of shots that are just from the waist up.
Right.
But then they do these little showy scenes that they also do in the Muppet Show when they put Kermit on a bicycle, like
Right,
you're
right.
like, oh my God, he's got lips. they do this in this show too, where you see maybe Rian like on his back with a sword,
Yeah.
like kind of scurrying out of the way, and you see his,
And
his
as
little
he's
legs.
like jump in the trailer, as he jumps from that wall to the centerpiece, and he flies up through to escape that little chamber there.
And in any other movie, this would be a simple scene. You tell the actor to get on the ground and like roll out of the
Right.
way. In this, they have to plan this giant
Yeah.
thing, build it into the set, cut holes and all
Right,
that.
which is just
So cool.
Yeah. The more you think about it, the more I feel like the magic is just always there because they put so much time into it and they make it look flawless and natural
Yeah.
and great. And I honestly, it's one of my favorite series of the year, and I think it's just. I'm loving that Henson's back. It feels like he's back.
Yeah, it's rare to see, kind of this craftsmanship on display anymore
Right.
because it is just easier to make a CG movie,
Sure.
right? Like there's no risk in creating something in CG because you're not manufacturing anything. You can make changes last minute. With this, you're committed. You gotta
Right.
plan everything out, manufacture it. If something can break, a costume can break, and I thought they did a really nice job. You know, they with makeup too, like showing the characters change over time, all that.
Yeah.
And it's everything's done physically, except for some of the CG shots, by the way, were super creative. The
Right.
vehicle that the Skeksis drive,
With the little bug
they got
wheels.
they got the little pill bug wheels. That was really cool.
I love
Like
that
even
stuff.
even the
It's awesome.
CG stuff is really well thought out within the concept of the world.
Right.
And they have a reason to make that one CG.
Sure,
You know.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, even the CG stuff feels like there's someone puppeteering a digital element to it
Yeah.
that gives it that sort of puppeteer life. It's
I will
great.
say, the Gelflings still kind of suck when you first see them. No, honestly, the Skeksis are awesome. Augur is great, but they have this uncanny valley eye
Yeah.
problem, right? Their eyes are so still.
Right.
I wish that would be like for the future, if they could ever figure out how to replace the eyes with eyes that more
Sure.
naturally move
Right.
and track the characters.
Oh, that'd be
I
awesome.
think it would remove that barrier to entry to really kind of love and connect with
Yeah.
the Gelflings. But maybe that's just me.
So closing out, do you want another season?
Oh God, yes, please.
I would love. They sort of left it, as they did. No spoilers here, but there's room.
Great ending moment.
Great ending
Yeah.
moment. There's room for more. I would love to see more, and I'd love to see everything kind of come full circle as they do with the imagery here in the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, as much as I'm worried about a story that leads to inevitable doom, they can figure out a hopeful element
Yeah.
and maybe set it up for a continuation after the movie. That'd
Yeah,
be really interesting
There's no
'Cause
reason why we can't have Dark Crystal too.
There's so many. If you should buy this book if you're into the Dark Crystal, The Ultimate Visual History, not a sponsor, because there are lots of abandoned story ideas
Yeah.
in here too that they could pick up and do with
Right.
with the new season as well.
Which I super hope they do. Netflix, if you're listening, keep this show going. It's probably my favorite. Is it your favorite of the year?
It is so far.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not done with Mindhunter yet.
All right,
I
yeah.
gotta keep watching that. Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks for joining me, Pear, talking about the Dark Crystal. For everything else Dark Crystal, you know what to do. Keep it locked right here at IGN.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.